the Raise Your Energy podcast. My name is Linda Lange and I'm your host and energy expert. Today we are having another coffee chat and it's all about my latest travel. I want to share with you my insights, and you might have heard other episodes before from me where I talk about the benefits of traveling alone. And yes, I'm just going to talk about it again because it is so important, but I have as well another insight that is really helpful for coming back home after a holiday or a travel and to bring these feelings of holiday back home into your everyday life. So let's get started. So, let's talk about my latest travel. I just came home about just over a week ago and I spent 3.5 weeks away this time. I went to Denver to visit the advanced follow-up from Dr. Joe Dispenza, which is a meditation retreat. And then after Denver, I actually took a road trip. I hired a car and I drove from Denver to San Diego. I had a week's time for that and a fantastic experience and saw a lot of fantastic things. And why I did go to San Diego is because there was another week-long advanced retreat with Dr. Joe, which I just wanted to do as well. I thought if I'm already over in the US for the first one, I can do as well the second one. And then I flew back home. So some of you might have heard one of my earlier episodes where I talked as well about travel, and you might think, Linda, have you not just been gone traveling? Yes, I did. I was traveling in December and parts of January. And the reason for that was I called it kind of the freedom trip. It was after I left my corporate career. I left it just at the end of November last year, and then I took some time away. I did a 6-week travel as well, combined with some retreats with Dr. Joe. Yes. But I had the chance now as well again to do it again, and I am at the moment in a place where I can do it. I'm of course doing a lot of things, creating this podcast for you guys, but as working on my book, I mentioned that before in our coffee chat, and quite a few other things around meditation and some other exciting things very soon to come. But I am in a place where I'm very free now. I'm still working on a lot of things and am not as busy as I really have been all my life. So I'm just taking the opportunity to do this travel, to experience these experiences that I really truly want to have and that let me grow so significantly. I have always been interested in growth and self-development, even when I was still in my corporate career. I'm now just in such a quicker speed in self-discovery and self-development, and I love it. I know it will calm down again at some point. I'm just going on the ride as long as it takes me and as much I can discover about myself and learn about myself. In the other episode that I did about my travel in January, when I came back from that first 6-week travel, I shared with you a learning, and that learning was about living our lives, not how we might think you have to live your life. I always thought that we are supposed to live our life how most of us do it, and there are of course shades and different kind of ways of living. But I thought that if you start into one direction, and for me that was, for example, living the corporate career and climbing the career ladder in the corporate world, then that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. And there are, of course, as well, a lot of environmental factors that play into it. You, of course, build up your life and your personality all around that. So it's, of course, then very easy to stick with it and not make too many changes. But when I was on that travel, I realized that you can change your life, and you don't have to change all about it, but you can as well choose a different way of living, and maybe even choose a way of living that you have not come across before. And maybe it's not much even out there, and maybe it's not even much accepted by society or people in your life. But I realized that I have to follow more my heart and my purpose and my soul, instead of living the life that society expects you to live. So that was a really big learning for me, and I have really been trying since then to do it and live my life more in alignment with my heart and with my soul, and what is bringing me joy and happiness and fulfillment. So that's what I've been doing since my first travel in the winter, and I'm really grateful for having the opportunity. It's kind of all aligning that I'm able to do it as well, and I have fantastic people around me, like my husband, who's allowing it and doesn't have a problem with it. Well, my dog might have a bit of a problem, but he doesn't have that much say. He believes he has a lot of say in our household, but he shouldn't have that much say. So anyway, that was my first learning, and I really try to follow through with it now, and as much as I can really check back in with me if I'm doing it, if I'm really following my path and not the path that I think people might expect me to go on. So this time when I traveled across the US and went into the other 2 retreats, I would say that my biggest takeaway from the travel and that being away in itself was the enjoyment I found in being with myself and experiencing all of these amazing places by myself, and just being really free, having that feeling of freedom. On my first travel, I didn't have that experience that much. I really enjoyed it, obviously, but sometimes I still had a bit of trouble being by myself, and sometimes I felt quite lost. And I didn't feel that this time. I was really centered in myself, really enjoyed my own company and listened inwards to what I wanted to do on the next day, in that day. Really just small things as well. When do I want to go to bed? What do I want to eat? So I was much more together with myself, and therefore enjoyed my own company more, and was more in tune as well with my surroundings and with my travel and everything. Most of it worked out really well, other than one day when I couldn't find a hotel. That was quite funny, because that was a one day where I didn't book something in the morning for the next night. And I said, no, I'm going to do it old school, and I'm just going to go, and I will find a place and I will see where I end up. And well, at the end, of course, I found a hotel, but it was pretty late and I had to drive another couple of hours after already having driven 8 hours. And I couldn't find a hotel where I wanted to be. I wanted to stay in Palm Springs, but exactly at that weekend, which I didn't know, was Coachella, the festival. And I just didn't know, and I couldn't find a hotel around there. And therefore I had to drive. At the time, I was nearly in the evening in San Diego. I was just half an hour outside of it until I found a hotel. Haven't driven at that point 10 hours. But otherwise, everything worked out so beautifully and so in tune, and I really enjoyed the places that I saw. I saw, for example, the Arches National Park, I saw Bryce Canyon and the Grand Canyon, and I really just enjoyed the time with myself, with my feelings and with my thoughts. I felt that I was in a much better place with myself than, for example, on my first travel. And I like as well that since I'm doing more of it and talk as well a lot about it, actually one of my friends who lives literally in our street, she just took as well her first solo trip. And she went away, left her husband and her kids at home and went to a really nice city in Europe for 3 days, and she loved it. And I'm so proud of her that she did it and tried it out for the purpose of doing it all by herself and being by herself and just experiencing it. And she really loved it. She came back and she said, well, now that I've done it, I really like it. This is not going to be the last one. So yeah, if you have this question inside of you, if you should maybe try it out, I can just tell you, try it out. Just do it. Put yourself into that experience and you will see what it does for you. For every person, it will probably do something slightly different, but I think it's with everybody who I talk to who has done it before, even if it was recently or maybe even 10 years ago, they always say that it was so worth it and that they grew out of it and that they learned something out of it. So I can always just recommend trying it out. And you know, you don't even have to go for 3 days. You don't have to go for 3 weeks like I do it. You can just do something small even. You can do one night. You can do a weekend, but you can do it even smaller. You could go alone to the cinema or go alone in the evening to a sauna for a couple of hours or go alone and have a dinner. I think a lot of people might never have gone out to a proper restaurant and had a dinner by themselves. And that is kind of the first step. So maybe try that one out. And just being with yourself and not fully distracted, like going shopping and doing things. You know what I mean? Have a chance where you are, even if it's just a few hours, to be silent with yourself and for your inner voice, for your heart and for your soul to actually come up and give you some messages and some insights and for you to connect more with your inside. So like I said, you don't have to do 3 weeks, you don't even have to do 3 days, you can do 3 hours. How about that? So what I wanted to share with you from this travel, and that's of course as well the topic of the episode, is coming back from a big travel or some time away or a holiday, a vacation, and being able to replicate some of that excitement or that joy or that happiness back into your everyday life. I know that there are lots of people who do not have a problem at all with it. They love to be in their home, it's their sanctuary, and they probably even feel like they want to go home after a week or 2 weeks away. And I love that. I'm so happy for people who are not having any kind of these feelings of wanting rather to be away. But for me, that was the case. Just before I came home this time, I made this realization that I don't feel the same kind of freedom that I feel when I'm on the road, when I'm on the retreats, when I'm away, that I don't feel the same kind of freedom and joy and happiness when I'm at home, but that I really wanted it. So I had this discovery that I want to feel more free and feel more freedom in all aspects of my life, and that I want to feel more home, and that this is something that was kind of missing for me. So I had this realization on the last meditation retreat in San Diego that this is a topic for me to work on. And since I'm back home, that's what I have been more aware of. I want to be more conscious about bringing these kind of feelings into my everyday life, into my home, and that I can feel free as well at home. And this is of course always the danger, that if we do something very special just a few times per year, whatever it might be, for you, maybe going to a spa, maybe going on a family holiday, maybe even going to festivals a couple of times per year, you know, whatever it is for you that is very special, gives you a lot of energy, gives you the feeling of freedom, joy and happiness, that we put it on a pedestal, that we put it really high and are not able to bring the enjoyments and the feeling of freedom as well into our everyday life. And I wanted to talk to you about it because I think it's really important for us to bring up these kind of feelings all the time. Of course we all the time want to feel like that, and I know we can, but it might be that you think you can't. It might be that you are in that situation where you think that your everyday life is more of a routine. It might even feel boring to you. You might feel stuck and you're just looking forward to the thing where you can escape your everyday life. And you might think that that's just how life is supposed to be. And of course we always want to look forward to something, but there is a balance, right? There is a balance between, is it a healthy kind of balanced way of looking forward to your next holiday, or is it really that you're just living for your next holiday and you're not living in your everyday life anymore? So I want to talk more about the extreme, and of course if that's you, then keep listening to what I'm going to share about my experience, so how I'm trying to create more joy, happiness and freedom into my everyday life. First of all, I want to tell you that you can change it. You are the creator of your life, so you have the power to change it. It's not about creating something as exciting as the holiday or the festival or the travel at home. It's not so much about the creating the same environment. Yes, you can do that, and it's going to be as well some of my suggestions that you do that, but that would just be controlling your environment and just creating something in the 3D world. And we know that never fills really the whole inside of us, or it never really fulfills and brings up that same feeling that we want to feel inside of us and that we do feel when we are on that high of our travel or our vacation. So what we want to focus on more is on our inside state, and how can we recreate these nice feelings and these moments of joy as well in our everyday life. So it's all about much more the inside and how you feel, how you think and how you are, so your state of being, than the outside. If we think about it, we don't want to have the holiday back at home. Otherwise the holiday or the travel is nothing special anymore. So we don't want to recreate just the same experience of being on holiday at home. We need to have as well breaks, you know, that we are living here in the 3D world, which is the world and the dimension of duality. We have the plus and the minus. We are going on a wave. We always need a kind of balance. That's why we sleep. We are awake during the day and we sleep at night to recover. We have the light and we have the darkness of the night, and we have the light of the day. It always has to be both to have a balance and to have coherence in your life. And that means as well not hyping up your life back home or your everyday life. That is not what you need to do. You don't need to hype it up, fill it up like you would do a travel across a country. No, you want to go more inside of yourself and try to find the joy, the freedom, and the happiness in the things that you usually do back at home. And with that, for you to do that, the first step is creating awareness. I always talk a lot about being aware and creating more awareness of your thoughts, your feelings, your habits, your actions, the things around you that give you energy or that deplete you of energy. I always talk a lot about awareness, consciousness. That is the key for it all, so to say. If you're not aware, if you're not awake to what is happening in your life, you're not able to make a change. So you want to become more aware during your everyday life, during the tasks that you do, the minutes that you have where you don't do something, the things that you do that bring you joy, or the things that you do that don't bring you so much joy. Not giving any judgment to these things, but just waking up in these moments and stepping more into the present moment. So let's look at a few opportunities where you could do that. And I'm just going to share 5 of them which resonate with me, where I have already started to become more aware and use these moments to remind myself of enjoying that moment and creating some love and happiness and joy in my heart, and to just be more present in that moment. So these are 5 things that work for me. You can find other things. It's just about practicing this awareness and to bring these feelings of freedom and joy into your life. It's with everything that you practice, with everything that you learn, is that you need to start consciously practicing it, right? If you want to change a habit, if you want to change anything, you need to practice it. It takes some training before it becomes more automatic and a program, and where you can write your program into the subconscious. You need to remind yourself. So you could even, of course, put post-its around your house to help you remind yourself, or have maybe a little totem, maybe a little figurine, or several of them all around your house, maybe a particular flower, and every time you see it, it reminds you of becoming aware and stepping into that moment, and maybe using that moment or the next thing that you were about to do to be fully present with that moment and really enjoy what you're doing, even if it's just something small. So let me start with the 5 things that I came up with for myself. The first one is going on a walk with our dog, Mykey. I go for a walk minimum once per day, so this is a perfect opportunity for me to enjoy it more, to be more present. I always like to be present anyway on my walk with nature, to be able to take some energy out of it. Walking in nature, looking at nature, and connecting with it always gives me a lot of energy, a lot of calmness, and always puts me a lot into the present moment. So I'm using it already anyway, and now I want to add more enjoyment. So I've tried it out already, and it's little things of nice views to enjoy it more. It's nice to watch my dog just sniffing around, or just being a beautiful dog and just enjoying him walking around and enjoying himself on the walk. And so that is my number 1. I just want to bring more enjoyment into my walk with Mykey, and as well the feeling of freedom. So I like to look into the distance and feel the space around me, feel the energy around me, to make me feel more connected, which helps me to get as well the feelings of freedom that I feel when I stand in Grand Canyon or Bryce Canyon. The second thing is I love to have a tidy house. So I love when the countertops in the kitchen are all kind of empty, and if the pillows on the sofa are minimum once per day, if they are all nicely ordered and look nice. So I do this normally once or twice per day, just tidying up the kitchen, living room mostly, or even my desk. And what I told myself now is to just be more conscious in it, because I enjoy the result. I said to myself, you can as well enjoy the doing of it, or not just the result. If I enjoy the result of a nicely tidied up kitchen or living room so much, why not enjoy as well the tidying up in itself and being fully present with it, because I'm doing something for myself. And it's just a few minutes per day. It just takes maybe 5 minutes altogether, or maybe one, if there is a lot from cooking, maybe it takes 10 minutes. It's not a lot, but I want to be more present with it because I'm doing something for myself. I want to kind of feel that and be with myself in these moments as well. So I'm now using the tidying up of the kitchen, or the tidying up of the pillows in the living room or of my desk, whatever it is, as well things in the garden like weeding I did the other day. I'm just trying now to be more present in that moment when I'm doing it, and just enjoying the act of doing something for myself and finding the enjoyment and the happiness and the calmness of it all as well. So that's my number 2. And number 3 is cooking. So I actually really enjoy cooking, and I enjoy food very much, and self-made food, so freshly cooked, home-cooked meals I really, really love. And therefore I want to be more present as well, preparing my meals, even if it's a salad, which is not cooking, but preparing the meal, because again, I enjoy the meal. I love good food, and I love to give my body good nutritional food. So why not as well enjoy more and be more present in preparing the meal for myself and for my husband. So I'm trying to be more present again when I'm cooking, but not just enjoying it, but just being really calm, being really in the moment and celebrating it. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the word. Celebrating the moment that I'm doing something good for me, for my body, for my soul, and really enjoying as well the different steps. I think in the past I might have been more rushed, or I would have been kind of away in my thoughts, in my mind when I cook. So now I try to be really much more zen about it, and being really conscious of cutting vegetables up and putting ingredients together. So really, yeah, I really enjoyed it already a couple of times since I'm back home, preparing a bigger meal that takes a little bit longer. But as well with the salads I've been doing, really being conscious of as well of the ingredients and feeling the different foods that I'm using. So that's my number 3, being more aware and really enjoying preparing meals. The 4th thing that I have is what I mentioned earlier, is to maybe do something a little bit different even when you're at home. So when you're on vacation or when you're traveling, of course, we like to pack our days in, right? Either we are I have been on holidays where I don't do anything because I'm just on a beach holiday, but then I have maybe all of the books that I'm reading, and all of the different foods that I want to taste from the buffet or whatever it is. But of course, when I'm traveling, I want to see this and I want to experience this. So there is a lot of activities that we plan in, and most of them, hopefully, we enjoy as well. So my idea is for me to do a little bit more about it. I quite often observe myself now being more home and really enjoying being home, working, enjoying my time with my family, with friends, and enjoying as well the nice place that I'm living. Yes, but I can get into that routine of not doing much else other than maybe going for a dinner or going to the cinema with my husband, which is of course fantastic, but I want to do a little bit more. And lots of you probably have hobbies and you're doing already other things that bring you enjoyment. And I think I can do more of that. So I can take an example of you who are already doing other things during your week to enjoy yourself. So for me, that would be going and learning something new, maybe going to a class. And that doesn't mean that I have to sign up immediately for a membership or for a dancing class, but just go and do the practice one and maybe just even leave it at that. And of course, if you enjoy it, you can do more of it. But just trying out different things and going to like a spa in the evening just by myself and bringing up a little bit of these feelings of like I'm on a holiday, or going by myself as well to maybe to dinner again, which I of course do a lot when I'm traveling alone. So yes, I said we don't want to pack all of our days full of holiday activities because we don't want to recreate the holiday at home. That is not necessary. But there is as well something about shaking up a little bit your routines. So if you are watching this and you are the person that feels a little bit stuck or feels like the day is very much every day the same, or you feel like your life might be a little bit boring or not that exciting anymore, then spice it up a little bit. Put yourself into something new, a new experience. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be once every 2 weeks, an evening, or even a couple of hours on the weekend where you just do something completely different that you haven't done before. Our life is here to be experienced. We're in this life to collect and have experiences and impressions. And when we keep doing the same thing that we have done over the last few years, it can get a bit stale and we don't get any creativity anymore out of our days either. We don't get new information or new ideas. So maybe even go to a museum. That's actually a fantastic idea for me. I actually love going to museums. So maybe I haven't been for ages, probably because of COVID, but going to a museum or going to a show by yourself that you want to see, but don't wait for somebody else to go with you. Just go by yourself. I have done that many times before, that I go to concerts by myself because I enjoy that time where I can fully be in that experience and I don't have anybody around me who knows me, and I can just be completely me, and I don't have to talk to anybody else. I don't have to be present for anybody else. I can just be completely in that experience. So maybe try that out to get some new impressions of life. So that was number 4. And the last one, before I close this off, is breathing. We do it all the time and it's really important for us. So it doesn't go away. It's the one thing that we keep doing to be alive. And it's actually really, really powerful. It gives us energy. The breath that we're taking in, the air that we're taking in, is actually full of energy. So if we can, throughout our day, a couple of times just become aware of our breath and how we're breathing, it is fantastic to become aware and to step into the present moment. And just either just observing the breath, not judging it, very important, not judging your breath, just observing it, staying with it for a couple of breaths. That already has given you again a moment of where you came out of your routine, where you snapped out of it, and where you were able to step into the present moment and align more with yourself and who you really truly are. And you can even start enjoying it, enjoying and having nice thoughts with it. You can create some affirmations around it, of how the breath is fueling you and giving you energy, or something completely unrelated to your breath. If you have something that you like to improve in your life, create some affirmations that work for you and say these information either out loud or silently in your head when you're with your breath. So use your breath to play with the words and these affirmations. and just try to bring up some good feelings when you're with your breath. And of course, you can change your breath as well. Quite often we are not breathing well enough. We breathe a lot just shallow here at the top, but we want to breathe more into our bellies. So if you catch yourself, if you remind yourself with something in your house or in your life to go and be with your breath, and you see that you have been breathing more up here or not really at all very deep, you can as well stop and really consciously breathe more down. Breathe into your belly, below your diaphragm, and breathe deeper, breathe longer in and longer out, and just again be with your breath for a few times, just enjoying that energy coming into you and the calmness of that oxygen being inside of your body and going into your brain. So these were my number 5. So just to recap, I'm more conscious about my walk with Mykey, with our dog, tidying up the house, really enjoying it, preparing my meals, doing something different, so really once per week or every couple of weeks doing something that I haven't done before, and breathing, using the breaths that we have to really be more present throughout the day. So I hope this coffee chat, the sharing of my latest travel, my insights, and what I'm actually currently working on is helping you as well to enjoy your everyday life as much as you enjoy your holidays. So thank you so much for being here with me in this episode, and let me know in the comments or in the reviews if you like this episode, and I would love to hear from you. And please share as well this episode with a loved one, with a friend or a family member, if they can use this message as well. And with that, I love you and leave you. Talk soon, and bye bye.